Moto Mafia, what's it all about?
Yeah, I walked into that showroom and nobody gave me the time of day, or it can't be that hard to run a dealership. I'm telling you, I started off with a £200 logo. These are things that I had no idea. You know, I'll just set up a dealership. That'll be no bother.
At any point did you go, maybe not?
Every day. You know, they say pressure makes diamonds, and you've got to just take that leap of faith, believe in yourself, and if it fails, it fails, you know. Pick yourself up, you move on, but at least you tried. I bought a Hypermotard 796.
As your first proper bike?
The more the merrier. Get as many people on two wheels as possible. Let's get this industry booming again. Let's get the passion and the enthusiasm back. But at the end of the day, the GS is still an amazing bike.
We've just lost half the podcast. You know that, don't you?
Down in the dirt.
Okay, folks, welcome back to Brew Time. We've got Ryan Butler from Moto Mafia. Great to see you, man. Thanks very much for coming on.
No, it's great. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Like I said, I'm starstruck. It's Bruce from TeapotOne. That's brilliant. It really is.
Oh, mate, crikey. Jeez, you make me, but you don't need to, crikey. It still makes me feel weird that I'm like, you know,
yeah,
people
I get it.
That's good to chat with you, man. So you started up, in fact, over to you, pal. Moto Mafia, what's it all about?
Yeah, so I've been buying bikes for myself for years, and I just got fed up with dealers letting me down. Now, I've heard lots of great experiences from dealers, you know, all over the UK. People, you know, there's some really good dealers out there, but I used to get let down lots. And I just used to moan about it all the time, you know, like, I walked into that showroom and nobody gave me the time of day, or, you know, that dealer pulled out of this deal, and, you know, always felt a little bit disheartened about the industry. And I moaned about it, and we were on holiday one time, myself and my wife, and I was, you know, talking about, you know, it can't be that hard to run a dealership. It really can't be that hard. And she said, why don't you try it? And I was like, no, I don't know how you would start. You know, how would you go about it? And she started off with, well, what would you call it? And I was like, and I don't know where it came from. I just thought, Moto Mafia, that's a cool name. You know, it springs off the tongue.
I was going to ask, what was the inspiration for that? But it literally just popped in your head.
I don't know if it popped in my head. It was sort of, you know, Mafia. I've always been obsessed with like Mafia stories. You know, I was right into The Sopranos, the Godfather movies. I'd read lots of Mafia books about different mafioso guys, the New York crime families. And I honestly can't even remember to tell you. It just, Moto Mafia, it just seemed to spring out my tongue. And I thought, you know, that is a really good name. You know, I'm not shy to say that I'm a Ducati man. So Italian bikes, you know, Mafia being Italian American. I don't actually know the full where it came from out of my brain, but I feel like I've chose the right name because I do like it, and a lot of people do comment on it. It's a sort of, you know, it comes off the tongue quite nicely. So that's how we started with a name. And then I started playing on my phone. It wasn't ChatGPT at the time. It was a website that sort of generated logos and things like that. And I put in a sort of brief of like what I would like the logo to look like. And then it prompted me to pay a fee to buy the logo. And it was quite expensive. It was like £200 or something like that, you know. And wait a minute, I've just thought of a name, you know, and there's no dealership yet. It's just, but I just ended up Apple Pay. Wonderful thing, isn't it? You just click Apple Pay. Oh God,
too easy.
And we bought the logo, and after that, it just sort of started to grow from there. So that was sort of a few months after that, we started looking at things. You know, the logo was set, the name was set. Then we started setting up the company's house, limited company, and then, you know, I had no clue what I was doing. You know, I'd bought and sell bikes before in the past, but nothing like this. So then it's a case of, you know, you need to get stock, you need to have a showroom, you need to have warranty coverage, you need to have offer finance, then you need a website, Instagram, Facebook, you name it. You know, there's a lot to go into it. But we were just sort of doing it bit by bit, you know, getting ready. And then we sort of got everything ready, like the Instagrams and all the bits and bobs, and then the warranties. And then we started looking for stock. So we started off with a BMW GS 1200, big tractor.
Aye.
A Yamaha R7, a BMW S1000R, quite an old one, a 2014 model. And that was it. That's what we started with in stock. Oh, sorry, I tell a lie. A 2007 R1, a black R1.
Right.
And that was it. So we started with e-bikes. And yeah, we just sort of went from there. I got a bit of a stop with the finance because I had no clue what he did with finance. I phoned up a finance company, naive, like Santander or something like that. I'm looking to set up a to be able to offer customers finance. And they said, oh, have you got your FCA, your Financial Conduct Authority regulation license? And I was like, what's that? And they basically just laughed you off the phone. You need to get all that before you even come to us. Little did I know you had to then get a consultancy company to help you do all the paperwork, set up the policies. You have to go through an application with the FCA, and the FCA are like councils. They don't move fast. So it took a long time. It took us nearly 9 months to get that set up. So we actually operated without finance for the first 9 months.
Wow.
And it cost thousands of pounds in consultation fees to get that across the line. So these are things that I had no idea. I'll just set up a dealership. That'd be no bother. No, it's a lot more involved than you think.
So it's a real leap of faith then, not only 200 quid in just making the logo, that's a financial commitment in itself, but then, God, you're chucking it all in there for the finance. I suppose it's integral, isn't it? It's integral to a successful dealership. You have to author it these day and ages. Right.
Absolutely.
At any point did you go, maybe not?
Every day I would hit a new wall or more money. People don't realise, or people will realise, have businesses, when you set up a business, everyone wants your money. Everyone wants a piece of the pie. And there's a lot to go in there, your accountancies and warranty companies are wanting money from you. Like I said, the Financial Conduct Authority want money from you. Then you've got to buy this. Then you've got to buy the stock. Then we had a problem with getting a premises, a place to store the bikes, because what I didn't realise is a lot of places don't really like motorcycles, unless they're a biker. They don't really want to deal with bikers, because I think there's this stigma still around bikers, we're a nuisance, we make a noise, we go fast. And a lot of landlords would rather that place that I was looking to rent would stay empty than take us in. So that fit, we actually operated out of our house for the first 10 months.
Really?
Which didn't actually bother me that much, because I don't know if you've ever heard of Tom Hartley, who's a supercar dealer. He's quite a famous supercar dealer.
Right.
And he sells, high-end Ferraris and Porsches and God knows whatever, £1 million cars and things. And he operates out of his house. Don't get me wrong, he does have a mansion with a lake in the middle of it, but you have to start somewhere. This
is it.
Yeah. And do you know what? It worked. And then we moved into our premises, and then we just, again, more money involved in that. You've got to make it look good. You want it to look nice. You want people to feel at home and comfortable when they're spending money on bikes. And then we moved in, and we've kind of started to outgrow that place. So we maybe need to look at get something bigger now, which is great. Again, I honestly can't believe it.
So how long, what's the time frame then for, like, from inception, I'm going to do this, to where you are now?
Yeah, so it would have been 2024 in September when I bought the logo and incorporated the business in October. And we didn't do a single bit of trading until March 2025. So from March 2025 until now, we've went from having 4 bikes to now having between 12 and 15 bikes at a time, and probably generating, close to £500,000 in sales, Man,
that's incredible.
It's I can't even believe it, saying it out loud. I actually just had a quick look at the balance to see what I'd done. I hadn't looked at it before, and I thought, I better, this might be a question that comes up, so I'll have a look. We're close to £500,000 in sales, which is mental. Absolutely ridiculous.
Congratulations. That's stunning. In this current climate as well, as dealerships, I'm sure it'll come up in questions anyway, but as we know, there's dealerships shutting down, all established manufacturer dealerships shutting down all over the option. And you're bucking that trend. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a tough time, and it's a tough time for all businesses throughout all industries. But we are in a tough industry in motorcycles because we're forever getting new rules implemented on us. You know, the government's always trying to change the standards of this Euro emission stuff, and manufacturers are struggling. You know, they're really struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. I just realised we haven't got the tipples out. Have you got a tipple of choice for this evening?
I sure have. I've got myself a nice Arran whiskey.
Oh, nice. Do you know, I was going to do the whiskey, and then I thought, nah, that's a wee bit too committed for me because I'll end up dribbling by the end of the night. So I'll have a beer. You have your whiskey. Slange, just to you.
Cheers. Good health.
So, are you enjoying the podcast? If you are, please let everyone you know about it. Sharing at the moment is the biggest trigger for the algorithm. Obviously, you need to like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. But if you can just tell one mate about the podcast, share it across to them, that helps tenfold. I love doing the podcast. I'm really trying to grow it this year, and you can help me out by doing that. So I'll love you forever if you do. Whilst I'm on the topic of support, folks, the only reason I can do the podcast and the YouTube channel and everything like that full time is because of my Patreon. In the clan itself, we do meetups, we do live streams. You'll get early access to the vids. You get first choice on the questions on this podcast. And you'll also get exclusive early access to my chicken strips tours when they're released. If you want to check it out, head to patreon.com/TeapotOne. And if there's anything there that takes your fancy, feel free to support me over on there.
Apologies, folks. We had a little bit of an issue with audio there. It's all sorted now. We're back in the room. So, Slange, have another drink because that was stressful.
Yeah. Cheers.
So, that's incredible, man. Like, well, just over a year, you know, the business is turned for a business. I think a lot of people don't realize this till they set a business up. Most businesses don't actually make profit for a good few years when they first start up. You know,
well, I was always told. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
No, go on. Please go on. I was
always told when you set a business up, you know, first 2-3 years you make nothing.
Aye.
Don't get me wrong. We've generated nearly 500,000 in sales. That's not a profit, but
of course.
The first year we did turn a profit, which is crazy. And it wasn't just a couple of quid, you know, it was a bit of money. And I was like, well, you know, that's crazy because like we've just said there, you know, I was always told first year you make a loss, second year you break even, and then year 3 you might make a bit of money. And, you know, we didn't set this business up to make lots of money. We made this business up of me moaning about the experiences I'd had, you know, within the dealership. There's a bit of information I've not actually said. I don't actually just do this. I work offshore as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I work 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. On the 2 weeks off, obviously full time within the business, and then 2 weeks away because I work offshore in an environment where the weather's really bad. You know, there's a lot of waiting about, there's a lot of downtime. I can use a lot of that downtime to also focus on the business instead of some of the guys that play PlayStation and Xbox and whatever else they do. I do that, but I also have my wife, Megan, who is a biker who helps out in the business. She plays a big part in it. And my dad as well, who's a biker, who also helps. And these are with like handovers, viewings, bike drop-offs, you know, day-to-day stuff, you know. So it's great. You know, I've not got that stress when I'm away. I know that it's taken care of by Megan and my dad, Graham.
Mate, that's a real example of, wow, what's the word? Like commitment, but also just being able, time management, just basic time management, because like you're running a career, you're running a startup business, you're running your marriage and relationships and everything that go with that. That's a lot of stuff going on. I've found it a real roller coaster personally over the last 5-6 years that I've been doing this full time now, and obviously running chicken strips as a business and the pod. Effectively, there's like 3 businesses going on there, and sometimes I've just had to go, do you know what? I can't deal with this, and I've had to almost like let to not go, but it's like they're just going to have to take a back seat for a wee while I focus on this one thing to try and keep this plate spinning and then come back to it. Like, how have you found that?
I can see where you're coming from with what you're saying. I'm very similar. You know, it can get very stressful at times. You've got to prioritise things. At the end of the day, I'm still employed. Albeit the business is always going to take priority for me because it's my baby. It's something that I want to grow. But at the end of the day, I'm still employed. I'm still being paid by an employer. So you've still got to give them the focus and time that they deserve as an employer.
Of course.
And like you say, sometimes you have to put your hand up and go, you know, there's times where I've almost broke down in tears with stress. You know, I'm not afraid to say that. It's a stressful situation. Like you say, you're juggling a lot of things in life, and you have to find the time to make everything meet. So yeah, it is hard, and there is times where you feel like, oh, I could just, you know, sack this off. But you've just got to dust yourself off, get on with it, find the time, whether that be you get up earlier in the morning. What I have found is getting up earlier in the morning. I was finding myself in the winter sleeping in on my, when I was off, and you get into that slippery slope where you lay in, I'll have a coffee in bed just for an extra half hour, and then before you know, you've wasted like 2-3 hours of the day where you could have been up, you could have got stuff done. So you've got to really utilise the time. And another thing is, you don't want to be working till, you know, midnight, 11 o'clock, midnight, because then you're tired for the following day, and then you're less productive for the following day. So you've got to get your head down. You've got to try and get 7 or 8 hours sleep. You've got to, otherwise you're not going to operate at your optimum, performance the following day. But yeah, it's hard, without a doubt. There's no secret magic to it. You've just got to soldier on. There's plenty of entrepreneurs out there that probably are in the same situation as us, where they've got to really find the drive to power through the hard times, which these are parts of running a business. There is hard times managing your time and making sure that you've dotted all your I's and crossed all your T's.
Absolutely. You hear this all the time, and it annoys me when people say, like, Elon Musk is probably the prime example, just because he's the richest man in the planet and he's very much up there in the headlines. And there's people that support him, and there's people that are against him, and there's people saying, the guy's worth so much money. Why doesn't he just give this? Why doesn't he just do that? Blah, 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 blah. And like, I always think to myself, I think a lot of people out there forget what it takes to achieve success in whatever you do. Whether you're a small business owner, an Olympic champion, or the richest person in the world, right? That just doesn't happen, does it? There are many, many failures along the way. There's many hurdles where you're just going to fall flat on your face, smash your balls on the hurdle. You're going to take a few kickings. That's just going to happen, isn't it? I think the difference between those who attain that level of success, whatever it is, and those who don't, is that they don't give up. They just keep going. And when you do get smashed in the face, you wipe your mouth, you figure out, okay, why did that happen? How do I avoid that? And how do I keep getting to that goal? And you just keep going, don't you? But it's hard. Like, the longer, for me personally, the longer I've been in this sort of self-employed entrepreneur world, every time you feel like you're getting a boot in the balls, it's hard to sort of pick yourself up and go, okay, let's just keep going. You just got to keep going. Like, I've had a few moments where I've gone, do you know what? It'd be a lot easier just to go and get a proper job, like go and get a job somewhere, have that paycheck coming in. But it's not what I want to do. For me, this is my dream. Like with you, with Moto Mafia, that's the dream. And you just have to keep going, don't you? And you will achieve that success if you keep going. It's the resilience.
Absolutely. They say pressure makes diamonds, and that always resonates with me, that quote. I'm not saying that I'm a diamond by any means. We're still growing, but my vision is to be a diamond, whatever that may be, and that's to grow, put in a lot of effort, like yourself. I mean, you've been through the trenches, even just traveling the world. Everyone looks at that and thinks, you've been around the world. That's amazing. I wish I could do that. And how luxury is that? But it's not luxury. That was a hard thing to do. That was an achievement to be able to take a jigsaw around the world, you probably had lots of times where you were thinking, I could just book a ticket, bugger the jigsaw off, and just go home, you know? You got to keep finding the way to move forward.
I always say to people, it's just life, you know, like traveling around the world on a motorbike is no different to life at home in the sense of you have the same sort of stuff to deal with, like, you know, where are you going to get food, where money wise, you know, if you're working to a budget, that's a continual thing. It's no different than when you're at home and you're working to a budget. You got bills to pay. When you're on the road, those bills are fuel, food, and maybe accommodation if you're staying places. You know, you hit the nail on the head. It's a resilience thing, isn't it? It's just you just problem solve, keep going, and you'll achieve your goal. It's no different
Absolutely.
to any other aspect.
I couldn't
of
agree
life.
more. And you've got to just take that leap of faith, believe in yourself. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I sat in that hotel holiday saying I believed in myself. It just sort of spiraled. And I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, believe and achieve and all this. That £200 that I spent on that logo just started escalating. I'm £200 in now, so I've got to keep going.
That's the
And then
air
that
share in you.
becomes
That's the air share in you.
20, 30 grand, you know?
Oh, Jesus.
And it just spiraled out of control. But these things happen. I bet there's lots of entrepreneurs that are really successful, millionaires, that if they could peel back the layers to how they actually started instead of just the social media, Instagram, real nonsense that they probably said did happen, it was probably something like that where, you know, I've sort of taken a small jump. And now I'm thinking I'm already in it. I'm committed. So let's just keep going. I don't want to be, I mean, there's a fear of being a failure, you know, once you started, and especially when you start telling people it, you don't want to then go back a week later and go, nah, I gave that up, you know. You got to speak it, and then it gives you that sort of commitment and that sort of responsibility to follow through with it and see where it ends up. And if it fails, you know. You pick yourself up, you move on, but at least you tried. But if it fails and you don't try, then, you know, it's not, it was a waste of time, it was a waste of money, and personally I would feel embarrassed. But if I give it my all and it fails, you just move on to the next thing, don't you? What's next? You know, let's go again.
I really like that. I mean, that attitude doesn't, I don't think it fits everybody. I don't think everybody is like that, but I'm very much like that, what you just said, you know, in that if you vocalize something and you put it out there that you're going to do it, that's a commitment. And, you know, for me, and as with you, by the sound of it, when you commit, that's it. You commit, you're all in, aren't you? So it's like, right, we've got to make this happen. We've got to do everything that we can to make it happen. And yeah, as we said, you keep going, don't you? Until you either effectively you give up and you will fail, or you just keep going, make it happen eventually. Right, we've hammered that point down, haven't we?
Yeah.
How did you get to that? How did you get to that stage in life then? If you don't mind me asking. So let's rewind the clock. You know, like, how'd you get into bikes? How'd you end up offshore? How long has that thought of, I think I could do that? When you see that flight service at a dealership, how long has that been burning away in your head?
Yeah, so I started getting into bikes at a really young age. You know, my dad has been a biker all his life. It used to be a cheap form of transport, didn't it? You know, back in the 70s and the 80s. And my dad's dad used a bike for transport. He was in the Navy down south. And I think what happened was my dad was borrowing my grandpa's bikes. And then he got into bikes and then came away from biking as he was, you know, raising a small family like myself and my brother. And he got to a stage in his life where, you know, he started probably getting a bit comfortable. The family was getting older and he got back into bikes. And I was always sort of brought up with, you know, a bike in the family from my dad. You know, I would always go in the back with him. And then one day I was really lucky, you know, my family were hard working, but we middle class. You know, I was really, really lucky, and I'm humbled that I had a good upbringing with a family that had money, you know, that could basically buy me a motorbike. You know, because how many families can say that, you know, they can, you know, their mums or dads can buy them a motorbike. But my dad turned up with a wee, I think it was Chinese, you know, this is going back into 1996 or something like that, a little Chinese.
Jeez.
And it was like it looked like a U-frame, and it had a bicycle seat, and then it had a 65cc two-stroke Chinese engine. And I was only a wee guy, you know, up and down we had like a little lane at the back. It was like back doors and houses went to this little gravel lane. So I used to just scoot up and down there. And then it went from that to like an actual small-wheeled motocross bike. After a few years of riding that, and then it went on to like a 250 motocross bike. And I remember one time my dad had, I think it was a Triumph Speedmaster, sort of chopper style, which is not the bikes he normally went for, but he had a Speedmaster and he bought it from Triumph, and he had an issue with it and he took it back, and they gave him a 250cc scooter. I can't remember what make it was, but it was a 250cc, you know, quite a powerful scooter as the scooters go. And I must have been about 13, and he just gave us it to take it up and down the back lane, you know, which is crazy, really. And it's from there I actually stopped riding bikes when I was about 15, 16, you know, at that age where, you know, you were doing other silly things as a young age, a young boy, a little hooligan probably. And and then got back into bikes when I started making money. I left school, became a gas engineer apprentice, got through my apprenticeship, became a gas engineer, wasn't making very good money. And I decided at that time I wanted more. I didn't want to be a gas engineer all my life. And there was a lot of wind turbines getting made around Scotland, you know, a lot of wind farms getting built in Scotland. And where I'm from in Ayrshire, there was a lot of wind farms. You've got like Whiteley Wind Farm, which was at one point one of the biggest onshore wind farms in Europe, and got a job there. Transitioned from gas engineer to a trainee wind turbine technician, trained up in there, took a massive pay cut, you know, but I just seen that vision again. It was like visualizing, I can see the potential in this industry. And I was lucky because the industry did actually take off, which, you know, nobody would have known. I just believed that it was, and started making really good money, and then started getting into bikes again. So I got into motocross bikes again, and then switched from motocross because I got fed up with them breaking down and falling off them and all the stuff that comes with that, and just went for my test, you know, the direct access. But the story with that is that the government changed the rules. So I believe I was 22 at the time, and I booked my direct access. Now it was a few months down the line; they were pretty fully booked, and I booked the first week that I could possibly get in, and I got a phone call about a month before I was due in, and they said, "Ryan, the rules have changed. The government's now changed it to 23 for direct access. So you'll have to do a restricted license where." You do all the tests, the same as everything else, but you can only ride a bike up to a certain limit.
Yeah.
So I was like, I was all excited for riding a bike. I couldn't care less. Yeah, that's fine. No worries, whatever. I'll get it done. So went and did my test, did the full week, passed my test. I had a Kawasaki ZXR 400, 1996, waiting for me. So my test was on the Friday, and I thought, I need to get this bike ready, you know, because if I pass this test, I want to go out on my bike. So I booked my bike in for an MOT. I had it sitting there, I'd bought it, and it was sitting in the garage, but it had no MOT, and I was like, I need to get this booked in. So I booked it in for its MOT, went and did my test, passed my test, flew home in the car, dropped the car off, walked down to the MOT centre, and they were like, sorry, it's failed. It's failed on a brake light. The brake light switch was broken, so it wasn't actually activating the rear brake. And he was like, we're closed tomorrow, so we can't have a look at it tomorrow, so it'll be Monday. So I had to wait all weekend. The weather was phenomenal, and I couldn't ride my bike, and I just passed my test. So had to wait till the Monday, got it fixed, got out on the Monday afternoon, and I think come Wednesday, the bike blew up. So the engine blew up, the cam had snapped or something like that.
Oh, jeez.
So yeah. I didn't have very much luck with that. And then that's when my love for Ducatis came, because I thought, do you know what? Stuff it. I'm just going to... My dad had a Ducati. He took me to Ducati up in Glasgow.
Aye.
And I bought a Hypermotard 796 supermoto style sort of bike.
As your
and that was
first proper bike?
Yeah.
Oh my
That was my
God.
first proper bike. And I absolutely loved it. Spent a fortune on it. It was carbon fibre, everything. All the Termignoni exhaust on it.
Jeez.
Looking back at it, it was a bit over the top now. It's not something I would ride, but it had the wheel stickers on it and everything.
Oh, it's got to be done. If you get one of them, you've got to do all that.
Yeah.
How much time
that
did
year I
they-
went to the Isle of Man for the TT racing, to watch that. And I went, and that was an eye opener, just pass your test. You're on a Hypermotard and there's thousands of bikes running about like crazy for the Isle of Man. It was,
Tell me one thing. How long did the front wheel stay on the ground for on that bike? Quick one before we crack on, folks. These aren't sponsors of the podcast, but I do have some discount codes for you. First up, Calimoto. Now, if you've used Calimoto in the past, maybe you didn't like it, you didn't get on with it, I urge you to try it again. They've been making loads of advances, particularly this year. Now they've got Android Auto as well as Apple CarPlay functionality in there. They've just launched a new function, which is called Group Rides. We use it on the Chicken Strips tours all the time. You invite people into your rides and then their profile icon shows up on the actual map itself. Just allows you to see where everybody is in the ride. Particularly useful if people get a wee bit lost, or maybe somebody stops for fuel, or they're a bit late. When you set off, you always get faffery, don't you? It's a cracking little function that's on there. There's loads more developments to come. Cali now uses the TomTom mapping structure itself. TomTom probably has some of the best maps out there, the most up-to-date in terms of road layouts and everything like that. Doesn't integrate with live traffic data, sadly. I'm not sure if that's something they're going to look at in the future, but Cali is becoming a real all-round package. So easy to plot routes on there, whether you use the AI functionality or you just do it yourself on your phone or on the computer, and it will seamlessly link to the app on your phone. Urge you to check it out. If you use the code TeapotOne, you'll get 10% off your annual premium subscription. Or if you just fancy trying it out, use Teapot30 and you'll get 30 days free trial. Cracking bit of kit. You need any help with it, drop me a line. Right, back to me.
it wasn't actually very good at wheeling.
What?
Because
Hypermotard?
I had the Termignoni exhaust on it with a air filter, and it wasn't mapped, so it was really bad on the throttle. So it actually, I had it for about a year, and I thought, this thing needs mapped. It's not running right. It was running really rich. And it was after I got it mapped, when they levelled the air and fuel out, is when the front wheel started lifting up. Yeah, so
On a closed road, obviously.
yeah, of course.
So, like, obviously, Moto Mafia, in the blurb about it, it says specialist in prestige motorcycles. So with that, you're looking at your Ducatis and your BMWs and all that sort of stuff. Is that a conscious decision to go for that sort of sector of the market?
No, so it started off with high quality. So in my head, I was thinking, right, I'm going to pick every bike that we get in stock as if I'm buying it for myself.
Gotcha.
So, I want it to have low mileage. I want it to not have dents in the tanks. I don't want it to be leaking fork seals. I want the chain to be looked after. I want a good service history, low owners, things like that. And then it sort of spiraled from there to Ryan the Ducati man. Prestige bikes, all bikes are prestige as long as they're looked after and they're in really good nick and the owners looked after it. Because, a prestige bike is, to MD, could be any bike, who am I to say what's prestige and what's not prestige? As long as it's looked after and it's clean, in my eyes, it's a prestige example of that model. So it's high quality, the best of the best. If that bike's for sale, I'm hoping that, or I'm expecting that bike on the market is as good as you're going to get from anyone else. It's going to be of the highest quality. And that's sort of how we've operated, and it's just sort of hand selected. And the good thing about it is I can pick and choose the stock that I want, because we're not stocking over, hundreds of bikes where you're really struggling to fill your stock. But there's also been conscious business decisions where we've had people come in to buy a bike. This was more back at the start. We've kind of got a solution for it now, but unfortunately there was times where we were like, they were wanting to part X a bike in, which is something that we accommodate for. But we couldn't accept the part X because it just didn't meet the standards that I had. So what I call is the Moto Mafia high quality policy is that's not really written down. It's just in my head. It's what I expect. So we're having to say to customers, I'm really sorry, but it's not something we would take in part X. Mm-hmm. We're sort of getting that sorted now where we can take things in part X, but it just doesn't come to our showroom. It goes elsewhere. But what I always pre-warn people is, you're more likely going to get a better price selling it yourself, because we're giving it to another trader to sell, and they're going to have your eyes out because they want to make some money off it as well. Of course. We're just looking to make it a transaction so you can buy our bike. We're not looking to make money from it. That's the way the world goes.
Gotcha. And that sort of reputation you've got, Ryan, the Ducati man, is that something that's just been, has that been built up locally then, or is that something that, like your marketing for Moto Mafia? I mean, how just as a fellow business owner, right? I'm looking at that and think to myself, Christ, you're starting up your own dealership, and it's not your conventional style in that, you started it in your own home to begin with. You started it as Joe Blogs. You're not a big manufacturer. You're not a big name or anything like that. How do you get the ball rolling initially to garner people's trust enough that they're going to go, I'm after a bike. Let's go and see Moto Mafia. Let's go and see Ryan. How have you found that in this day and age?
It's social media. It's so important. Social media plays a massive part in this world now. Unless you're a business-to-business model, if you've got an end consumer, you need to be on social media. And it's, for social media can be a facade. It can be, La La Land. It can be kid on. You can make people believe anything. Now, that's not what we're doing. So I'm not saying that that's what we're doing. But it's played out that way. It's not something that we actually planned. Now, Ryan, the Ducati man's more of a in-house joke where some of the customers have had in the past, some of our loyal followers. You probably get some jokes for your loyal followers as well. And it's because, I have just happened to have a lot of Ducatis. Now, it's not that I'm choosing to only supply Ducatis, because I don't. I want to, my horizon's open. We've got Triumphs. We sell a lot of BMWs. But we do stock a lot of Ducatis, and people notice it because it's a Ducati. It's got that sort of, I don't know. It's like a villain, isn't it? The Ducati is the villain of the biker world.
It's an exotic, isn't it? It's an exotic, but it's like a stallion, isn't it? Like a prime stallion or a prime bull. It can perform exceptionally well, but it can also be a bit of a nightmare. It's going with the old reputations.
It's got a character, hasn't it? It's got this.
That's a character.
It performs really well. It's, they're very, very fast bikes. They've got a very good look. They have got a stigma of being a bit temperamental. But, they're, without, whether you love them or hate them, they're a very, very popular bike, and they sell very, very well because, let's not be kidded, they're absolutely annihilating in the racing world, and the racing world plays a big part in sales. Not so much maybe with the GSs and things like that, but in the, when you're selling super bikes and things, whoever's winning generally sells the most bikes.
Aye, very true. It's weird though, isn't it? Because the whole sports bike world is almost died off. I think at one stage, was it last year, year before, in terms of new sales, sports bike made up less than 10%, I think, of sales of new bikes. I mean, it was really, really low at one stage. But there's almost like a wee bit of a revival coming with that, I think, at the moment. And I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is the likes of your Ducatis doing well now in Supers and MotoGP, and I don't know. There just seems to be a rise in their in sports bikes prevalence across media now, social media being a big thing as well. They just seem to be coming up a lot more than they were. It was all adventure bikes for a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, the industry itself, now a lot of people say well, the industry's, dying or it's getting worse, or there probably is a bit of that to play with it. But what I have noticed is, as of late, I've noticed a lot more people getting their license. It's becoming very fashionable on social media for people to get their bike license. And if you're a social media person, an Instagram model or, a personality, you're not going to go and buy a GS. You're going to go and buy an S1000RR because it's sexy. It's the sexy bike. It's the one that's going to get all the tags. It's going to get all the follows. It's going to get the reshares. Us bikers, I love a GS, by the way. I used to hate them because I was a young guy and I don't want a GS.
Then you rode one.
And then I jumped on one and I was like, oh my God, this thing's unbelievable. They're really good. Great bikes. They sell really well. And there's a reason why they're good. Even the 1200, the 1250 and the 13, they're all great. They're brilliant bikes. But if you're a big Instagrammer and you're looking for follows and shares and to look like the top man or the top girl, it's going to be a BMW S1000RR, it's going to be a Panigale V4, it's going to be an R1. And I think that's what's helping the kicks, the kickstart of superbikes coming back. But also, like you say, we're actually really lucky with, World Superbike, BSB, MotoGP, Isle of Man. We're still in an era where we've got all this. None of that's been banned. None of it's been stopped. And, in a world where things are getting banned and restricted all the time, we're still in an exciting time in motorbikes. So it's not all doom and gloom. And like you say, I think MotoGP's I don't know what the figures are, but it must be getting more popular again because Marquez is on a Ducati, which is probably helping sales for Ducati as well. I think we're still in an exciting time. I do generally believe that the industry is not dying, but it's getting exciting again.
Okay, folks, got some more codes for you. Again, these aren't sponsors of the podcast, but they are affiliate codes to me. So if you use them, it does help me out. First one, Roadskin. I'm using loads of Roadskin products just now. No obligations from them. They've just given me the kit and said, try it, see what you think, give us their feedback. I use their winter double-lined Paranoid jeans. I use them all year round. They're quite a baggy fit for biker jeans, and if you're a bit of a bloater like me, or you've got prop thighs and calves in particular, then I find their sort of looser fit loads more comfortable on the bike. They have like a summer version. I think they're called the Tyrannus ones. Check them out anyway. I've just started wearing their, is it the Dakota jacket? It's a black jacket, looks really good. It's actually quite slimming, believe it or not, and as a almost 21 stone bloater, I'll take any help I can get. I've been wearing it all summer in all my tours. Been wearing it in almost 40 degree heat on the last one in the south of France. It's brilliant. It's a really good jacket. It's fully armoured. You've got protection in the shoulders, the elbows, even got a back protector in there. You can wash it in the washing machine. Great bits of kit, folk. Check them out at roadskin.co.uk, and if you use the code TP1, you'll get 10% off everything they do. And I get a little cutback of that sale, so you'll be helping me out. Check them out.
I make you right on that, absolutely. I think there's going to be a revival in bikes, and I think it's going to come from two different directions and two different age groups. I think it's going to be like my sort of age group. I turn 50 in a couple of months, and I think my sort of generation...
You don't look a deal over 30, Bruce.
30 stone, it's very kind of you, Ryan. Well saved, thank you. I think I see it a lot on my tours, right? A lot of my customers are blokes, and they're guys in their 50s, 60s, and some even pushing into their 70s. And there's a lot of people who've done the big adventure. They've done the sports bike thing, then they moved into the adventure bike phase. But those big adventure bikes are now becoming just that wee bit too big, and they're becoming too much, and they're becoming too expensive, So they're now looking to downsize, and there's a lot of them looking down on, don't mean down, you know what I mean? There's a lot of them moving to like the Enfield
lighter
market,
weight, yeah.
Or 400-500cc bikes, 700-800cc bikes. I think there's just going to be, with the Chinese coming in now as well, we're already seeing it. There's going to be an explosion in that. And then also what you said, that 20 to, I would say early to mid 30 market, you just look on social media and that's exploding at the moment. And they're all on, you know, they're getting new bikes. Not many of them are moving on to adventure bikes. It's all the other bikes that you've just said, your nakeds and your sports bikes and, you know, your XRs and all that sort of stuff. But that is booming at the moment. That really is booming. I've got friends that have started up like bike schools, you know, teaching people to ride. And they're like, we're booked out the door. They're absolutely booked out the door, which is awesome news to hear in the industry, eh? And I think it's going to do really well. I just think a lot of dealerships are going to have to, you know, the main big ones, they're going to have to adapt, or sadly they'll go, because I think that the old market is changing, and there's new blood coming into the industry now, isn't there?
Absolutely, and like you say, they are going to have to adapt. And I have noticed a lot of big dealers are adapting. There are a lot of them on social media now. They're doing a lot of social media stuff, which is great. You know, I want to see the industry strive, no matter whether it's a competitor or not. And I've heard before about people talking about YouTubers and Instagrammers getting bikes, and you know, there's a bit of negativity around that. I think it's great. The more the merrier. Get as many people on two wheels as possible. Let's get this industry booming again. Let's get the passion and the enthusiasm back.
Absolutely.
And you know, it would be a horrible world to live in if we couldn't ride two wheels. I don't know. It's a great thing to have. We're still able to do it again in this world where things are getting restricted and banned. We're still able to jump on a 200 horsepower bike and ride it down the road. Is, you know, crazy really that we're still allowed to do that in this world, but we can. So we need to get out there and enjoy it. And I think what you're saying as well, you know, you've got these different people coming into the industry. There's a lot of people that I've known that were into cars that are now getting into bikes, because if you think about it, a lot of people that were into cars that maybe want a weekend car to, you know, go and have a nice fast weekend ride. I mean, look at a brand new BMW M3. What's the cost of a brand new M3 now? Like 100 grand, 90 grand?
Astronomical. Yeah.
You know,
ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. But yeah, bikes are expensive as well, but you can jump on a BMW S1000RR, which is the top dog BMW, on par with the M3 in the biker world, for 15 grand, couple hundred quid a month.
Yeah.
You know, so you're seeing a lot of car people moving into the biker world because they can get the thrill for a lot less money, basically.
That's it. And where, you know, these cars, they look amazing. They're beautiful to sit in. They're beautiful to drive. But where can you, like, to get that thrill out of the car, where can you go to do that in today's Britain? Like, the roads, the state of the roads, they're shite. They're rammed full of traffic everywhere. At least on a bike, you can nip by traffic, can't you? And, you know, like, you can take a 400, you can take a 125cc bike out, thrash the nuts out of it, and have the time of your life. And you probably won't hit much above 50 mile an hour, you know, if you're lucky. So you're not going to get hammered for speeding and all that sort of malarkey. I really think as an industry, as a niche sector, we really need to highlight the fun of bikes, like what bikes are. They're a bit rebellious. They're a bit of a to you know, the establishment kind of thing.
Man.
I think a lot of people have forgotten that. Like,
yeah,
you look at comments on social media, and there's a lot of people are like, you know, you're riding that bike shouldn't do that. You're on the wrong bike if you want to do this, and you should be doing that, and you should be riding this way, and that's a disgrace. You're like, fuck it off. Biking's...
Yeah. Stop being so controlling. Right. Let me do what I want.
Exactly. Let me ride my bike the way I want to ride. As long as I'm not harming anybody else, just let me do my thing, and I'll enjoy it the way I want to enjoy it. Thanks very much. And I think we really need to promote that. You know, like the freedom of a bike, the individual. What's the word? Individualism? Is that the right word? You know, you can be whatever
spirit.
you want to be.
It's supposed to be a free spirit.
Aye. And the community, whereby. Exactly. And the community of riding a bike. You know, you can go anywhere on this planet on two wheels and stop. Someone will come over and chat to you, because bikes do that. The bikes just break down those borders and they'll just come up. I think we've got such a good thing going on, and thankfully it seems that some of these younger generations are recognising that. So hopefully they'll grab it. And I think
it's a great thing. It really is. In a world now where there's so much political stuff going on, left wing and right wing and all this.
Yeah.
You jump on a bike, two people go, total opposite views of politics, don't talk about politics. They talk about, oh, I got that SC Project exhaust fitted, wait till you hear this. You know, nobody's talking about politics on a motorbike because who cares? You know, you're a free spirit. We don't care about politicians. We care about riding our bikes, finding twisty roads, getting that exhilaration that we're looking for, that sort of adrenaline pump that, you know, it's a legalised drug. You know,
is. It's like crack, isn't it? When it gets under your skin,
really
it's like crack.
I don't know what crack's like. I've never tried it, but I'm assuming it's similar to that.
Obviously. There was something I was going to say. I'd hogged the mic for a bit there. Apologies, but you know, when I raised up that point about you not being like an established dealership with a big name that started, a big manufacturer behind you, I also think in this day and age that's actually a positive, because in this day and age of AI and technology and social media, everything on social media, you're constantly second guessing. Is that real, or is that AI, or, you know, is this bollocks or not? You got to fact check everything, whatever that you see on social media these days. I really do think people are starting to actively seek out like that human connection, which is again is why I think these podcasts do so well, is because it's people engaging. Okay, we're not in the same room, but in a podcast, it's at least two people or one person chatting to a camera or whatever. But it's a real person having a real conversation, you know. And I think that's lacking in a lot of people's lives. You know, a lot of people are working from home, and some folk don't have family around about them. They don't work in an office, and they're not surrounded by people, and they're not getting that connection. And I think if you provide that connection in whatever form, whether it's content you put online or a dealership like you've got where people can establish a rapport with you through social media before they come and meet you face to face and stuff, I think people are gonna react to that favorably, I think, as opposed to a big multinational company facade. You know, I think these smaller, almost one-on-one style businesses, boutique style businesses, if that's the right word, I think they're really going to do well as we move into the future, because they provide that one-on-one sort of service, one-on-one connection. Only me. Right, another code for you, this time Innovv. Now, I've been using Innovv stuff for years. I think it was 2018. I used their first dash cam when it came out. They approached me to be a sponsor when I first went full-time back in 2020, and I've been using their kit ever since. They're not a sponsor or anything like that anymore. They occasionally send me through their kit. I've now got the N2 smart riding systems, like a CarPlay or Android Auto type screen and dash cam integrated system. I've used loads of their dash cam systems. I think the most recent one is the K7. Brilliant bit of kit. I had that before I started using the N1 and the N2. Really well made, folks. They've got big ideas about where they want to be going. Check them out at Innovv, INNOVV.com. And if you use the code TeapotOne, you'll get up to 10% off. Again, I get a little slice of that, so you'll be helping me out, folks. Another one for you, Cardo. I've been using Cardo for probably almost a decade now. Use it all the time on the tours. There's 15 of us away. We'll invariably have everyone on Cardo now. Definitely worth spending the money and getting the mesh systems. So get the PackTalk Edge, which is their flagship system. Cracking sound, cracking connectivity, really easy to set up a chat group via the app. And again, if you head to their website, cardosystems.com, and you use the code TeapotOne, you'll get up to 25% off. Again, I get a little slice, so you're helping me out. Okay, back to the chat. You tell me, if you see that or not.
That's what we sort of, I mean, we had to play it that way because I'm working, and but what I have found is the aftermath of that is great, because we work on appointment only. But the great thing about that is everyone's working 9 to 5. So who's got time to go to the local dealership to buy a bike on a Wednesday at 3 o'clock, unless you take a holiday? So I can, somebody wants to come and see a bike on Wednesday at 9 o'clock at night, no problem, that's fine. I'll get the place opened. We'll look around the bike, we'll get it started up. We're in the middle, out the way, so we're not going to bother anyone. And I think it works better that way. It gives
Truly.
people the freedom to come when it suits them. So we get them booked in for an appointment, and then they've got that one-on-one service as well. So I'm not getting distracted from other calls. My phone will get put on silent. I'll miss calls. I'll just phone you back. We're not a dealership where we've got receptionists that will take your name and probably forget it, and you won't get a phone call back anyway. You'll leave me a message, or even if you don't leave me a message, I'll still call you back as soon as I'm done. But my focus is on the person who's in front of me at that time. So then I can answer the questions you've got. I can then, come away from you, let you have a good look around the bike, and then we can have another discussion. And again, another thing that I like about the fact that I still have a job, and my wife Megan still has a job, is we can, our bills are still paid, which is great. There's no stress in the bills getting paid. And one of the things that that I think about dealers who've let me down in the past is I think, now I'm starting to think like a dealer. So it's not just a one-sided view. I've seen both sides of the coin. I think a lot of the time, if a dealer lets you down, let's just say, for example, you have an issue with a bike, it's ran out of warranty, and you're looking for a bit of support, and they tell you no, and you're a bit disheartened about it.
Yeah.
That dealer's made that decision on their overheads, their bills. They don't want to lash out money they don't need to. Whereas my view is I want to be trusted for a long time. I want to be able for people to talk about me in a good way. I want the reviews to be good, and I want the business to grow. And with that, I can then look at things on a case-by-case basis and make a decision on, do you know what? He's a really good guy. I really liked him. He did, he bought the bike off us. He left us a nice review. He's sworn he is out of it's ran out, but I'm just going to sort him out because, he's going to come back to us. We're going to get business. He's going to talk about us. It's great. And my bills are still paid. The business maybe took a hit, but that's fine. We'll make money on the next one, whereas some companies might go, well, if we give this guy what he wants on a goodwill gesture, we might not be able to pay the lease, or we might not be able to make our targets, or we might not, the regional manager won't be happy with us. We've not got that. We are just answering to ourselves. And our main goal right now, especially being young, is to get a positive vibe out there as fast as possible. That's, we want to be trusted quick. And I think the best way to do that is to just be legitimate, be, accommodating, and help people out when they need it. Help them out, because the bikers, at the end of the day, we're bikers, they're bikers. I'm not a salesman. I've never sold anything in my life other than, them since we started bikes. So sometimes I can be very, probably too honest for a salesman. There's times where I'll tell them my profit margins and everything, because I'm just a guy that's, got into this, and I don't know the ins and outs, and I don't have the little dealer black book where they hit you all the patter, the dealer patter, or we're not making any money on this bike. I'll be open and honest. If I'm selling you a bike and you ask me, some people can be necky and they will ask you, what's your profit margin in this? I'll generally just tell them, because I'm like, I'm not scared to tell you what my profit is. It's not a dirty word, and it's not greedy, so I'm happy to tell you. And I think that resonates with people around.
Yeah, definitely. Like people smell bullshit. Like they can smell bullshit, and if they think you're bullshitting, you've lost their trust. And in your game, that trust equals a sale, doesn't it? So, yeah. I always say that there's no point bullshitting, because the second someone does think you're bullshitting, you've lost them. Like you've lost their confidence. For you, that's a sale. For me, that's their loyalty as a viewer and potential customer for my tours. So I'm the same as you. You just be upfront, don't you? It's warts and all. This is what it is. So if you like it, brilliant. I'm your man. If not, best you go somewhere else. Right.
There is a real lack of trust. There is a real lack of trust in the industry. Probably because a lot of people have been let down like me. I had a real lack of trust when I bought anything. I didn't trust anyone. So when I'm telling, what I'm saying to you is, like, when I tell people the truth of what's happening, there has been occasions where I've looked at them and thought, he thinks I'm talking shit. For instance, I'll take an inquiry on a bike, and you always, you phone a local car dealer or something and say you're interested in a car, they'll tell you, oh yeah, we've got 5 people interested, so I would make a move on it quick. Whereas I'll tell people if there's no inquiries on it, I'll be like, look, there's not really any inquiries on it now, so if you want to have a good think about it, it's a big purchase, go pour a glass of whiskey or whatever tonight, have a think about it. But what I will do is if I do get a serious inquiry on it, I'll let you know. But if you don't hear from me, then you know there's nothing going on. But there's times where I generally have had a couple of serious inquiries on it, and someone phones up to inquire on it, and I'm just like, just to let you know, I know you're interested in it. We have had 2 pending inquiries on it. 2 people are seriously think about it, and they think, yeah, right, whatever. And then they hang up the phone. They hang up the phone, and then somebody else phones up that's been inquiring on it. Right, I'd like to buy it, Ryan. I'll send you over a deposit just now. And then that person phones back, and they're like, yeah, I'd like to go ahead, and I'm really sorry, but it's sold. And it's like, I wanted that bike. I really wanted that. And I always say, like, I don't want to be the one that said I told you so, but I'm genuinely being serious when someone's inquiring on a bike. Yeah. But I understand. I'd be the same. Yeah, whatever. You've had 5 inquiries on it. Why is it not sold then? But some people like to think about it. It's a big purchase, and some of these bikes are 20 grand, 15, 20 grand. It's a huge thing to justify. So you need time. You can't just phone up half an hour. Yeah, it's a great bike. It's lovely. Yeah, okay, take my money. You've got to really let it sit, and not be an impulse buy. You've got to really think about it.
Last one, folks, I promise. Okay, Ultimate Add-ons used to be a sponsor of the podcast. To be honest, they've been with me for years. I just felt a bit awkward about asking them again, so I haven't. However, I still have the affiliate deal going on with them. Ultimate Add-ons provide rugged, vibration, dirt, weather protective cases for your mobile phones, as well as action camera mounts. I use it all the time, particularly when I'm going away and doing like a demo ride on a different bike or a review on a different bike. Makes it really easy. There's pretty much no bikes out there that I cannot, in some shape or form, connect the phone holder to the bike. And then most bikes these days have some sort of power outlet, and I can run a power source into my phone via the weatherproof port in the case, and that allows me to use it for my navigation as we're going along. If you head to ultimateaddons.co.uk and use the code TeapotOne10, the number 10, you'll get 10% off. Again, I get a little slice, so you're helping me out. And lastly, do you like washing your bike? Are you a freak like that? Well, if you've watched the videos over on the TeapotOne channel, you'll see that I've had my bike ceramic coated by my mate Pete over at Super Shield Automotive. Now, Pete's proper on the spectrum. He's really OCD, but he does a fantastic job in detailing your bike, getting it better than showroom condition. And if you head over to his website at supershieldauto.co.uk, you can not only book your own bike in for a ceramic coating and detailing treatment, but you can buy the exact products he uses, as well as a whole host of other discounts on a load of mainstream products, like, let me run through these, Akropovich products, Chiggy, DNA air filters, Easy Grips, R&G kit, Hex kit, the Hex Easy Cans or the GS911, Evotech crash protection, Cardo as well, performance parts where you get a whole load of other stuff. He even does Insta360 cameras. It's growing. It really is. And he gets really good deals on there. Head over to his website. If you mention TeapotOne, you'll get, I think, a 10% discount on your ceramic coating treatments. I don't make anything from this, folks. Pete's a mate. He helps me out. I'm just returning the favour because he's a top bloke and he provides a first-class service. If you're spending your money, go to him. Okay, let's get back to me talking guff.
I've just makes me smile. The impulse buy, that's me all over. Like I'll go into a deal like my last bike, the 1300, for example. I went for the live launch thing in the dealership. It's in all the dealerships around the UK, and I went just to have a look. I'd seen some of the sneak shots, and I was like, please don't be as ugly as that in real life. So I went, and it came up. I had no intention, genuinely, I had no intention of buying it yet because it's a brand new bike, it's a brand new engine, and I thought the sensible option is let that sit, right? Just let it sit, let them get all the issues out the way, give it a year, and then I'm in. So there we go. I watch it all goes through, and I turn around and I literally just locked eyes with the salesman in there, who's turned out to be a good mate now, and he was like, come and take a seat. And as I sat down, in my head, it switched to, this could be a good buy, because even if I do have issues, it's content for the channel, isn't it? And it was just like, yeah, we're doing sign, done. I was like, fuck, how did that happen? You know, you walk away, we're like, I've just bought a bike. Bollocks. How did that happen?
You know you're in trouble when you start justifying it in your head.
Oh, mate, it's a business purchase. It's a business.
Yeah.
Right.
But was it a bad decision? Was it a good decision?
No. I love that bike. I've wasted a lot of money on it, and I'm going to do a vid about that soon, actually. It's got almost 50,000 mile on her now. I'm almost reverting her back to stock, but not quite. Done a few tweaks on it lately that I'm very, very happy with. The bike does absolutely everything I need. I've had no major catastrophic issues. Yeah, it's been good. But I'm taking a KTM out either on the next tour or the tour after. And I know KTM's my bike. It's just the reliability and the dealership service. You know, my BMW dealership I use, if I have an issue, they bend over backwards to help out. And I appreciate I've got a presence and that has an impact on that. But I recommend it to a lot of people. I think bar maybe one, possibly two people who haven't had a great experience, everybody else has. So, you know, it's not like that with KTM. It's kind of the reverse. But the KTM is definitely a lot more fun to ride, you know. It's a really engaging ride. And I know this 1390 is just going to be mint. Providing it doesn't blow up, I know it's going to be mint. Anyway, we'll see.
No, I've heard really good stories about BMW dealers, and I do deal with the one in Glasgow, and they are really good to deal with. So they, you know, I've heard you talking about them, about your warranty things. They're really good with support, and it just shows you. You know, you're saying about KTM, you would buy one, but you know, the dealer. This is how important it is. You know, face value is so important. So dealers need to really realise that social media is a big tool now, and people can talk.
Absolutely.
And if you piss the wrong person off that's got a good following, people will follow them, and you'll start to see a dip in sales. So you need to treat everyone with respect. I got fed up walking into dealerships. I'm not going to name any, and they don't even give you the time of day. And I had money in my pocket ready to buy, and they didn't. That resonates with me now, and I don't even buy. You know, I very rarely buy bikes from dealers now. It's all, you know, done through myself, but it still resonates with me all the years past, where I'm like, nah, I won't buy off them. They didn't give me the time of day. They didn't even, you know, what you're supposed to be a biker. The first thing I do if a biker walks in is, what do you ride, or what sort of riding style you got, and what do you think of that bike, and what about this bike? Would you, you know, just talk, just like we're done, just talking. You know, a couple of bikers. But I think the problem is, and you can shoot me if I'm wrong, I think maybe a lot of dealers, a lot of them aren't actually, not all, there will be some, but they're not all bikers.
Very true.
Some of them might have been bikers and they haven't ridden for a while.
Very true, man.
But I think it's hard to sell something when you're not really engrossed in it, you know, doing it yourself.
BMW is exactly the same, man. There's salesmen, sales staff in BMW dealerships that I've experienced, including the one I used just now, where they don't ride bikes, you know, and it's like, I don't understand that. But having used a dealership for a long length of time, you know, I've been with this one for 3 years now. They systematically all seem to be doing their bike license, and you can see the change in the people. All of a sudden they get it, and they're like, "Oh God, yeah, right, okay, I get this now." Yeah, and that enthusiasm really comes through, doesn't it? When people start talking about, if you love bikes, you just love chatting about them, don't you?
Yeah,
you've got an affinity for something.
The passion comes out. The passion starts to come out. But you've also you can resonate with people. You can relate to them when they're saying things like, well, with this bike that I was looking to, buy, does it offer this option, or how does it feel when you take it round the corners? Because my previous bike, I didn't feel too confident in the corners, or it dived at the front, or the seat height was a wee bit high, or the gear shifting was a bit clunky. And if you're looking at a bike that he wants to buy, and that gearbox is a wee bit clunky or it's a bit divey, then you go, I'm going to be honest. This bike, I've ridden it, it does dive a little bit and it clunks a little bit, so you maybe want to look at something else. But here, here's a similar bike that I know definitely doesn't do that. And even if we don't have it in stock, A, we can either source it, or B, we're going to give you advice to go and buy it down the road. It's no problem. I want you to get on the bike that you want. I don't want you to buy a bike off me and then 3 months down the line go, I wish I had bought that bike. You know, he sold me that bike telling me it was all singing, all dancing, and it does all the things that my last bike did that I wanted to get rid of it. Yeah, I don't need to do that. I want, you know, and like we're talking about, you need to be riding these bikes to understand that. Otherwise, how can I honestly tell them if that's the case?
Yeah. Do you do servicing as well then, or are you purely just a dealership, a sales?
Yeah, purely sales. We don't do any service. I will do, if we buy a bike in stock and it needs an oil change and it's not within its manufacturer's warranty, if it's manufacturer's warranty, it goes to the manufacturer to keep the warranty active. If it's a bike, you know, that's, you know, let's say, for instance, say like a Yamaha that's out of warranty, it's had a couple of independent services and it just needs an oil change, yeah, we'll do it, and, you know, we'll provide a history and an invoice to say that we've done it. If it's anything major, like, it's very rare that we take bikes in that are due valve clearances or, you know, like major services, because we generally stay away from them because it just adds a bit more work. But if we do, and it has happened in the past, we'll take it to trusted independent dealers to do, because without trying, I don't want to spread any negativity, but I find where I am, the dealerships are not always the best place to go for these sort of open heart surgery services. Sometimes the independent guys that used to work there 10 years ago but now have their own label above their unit, their place, their garage, with their name on the building, they do the best job because you know, they've got a reputation. And it's not always just about the money. It's not about saving money. It's about making sure that bike's been done to the absolute best ability. And we find that that's generally, you get that from independent people that are, they've got a reputation around the area that we live in.
Yeah, definitely. Word of mouth, isn't it? You know, like that's the best recommendation, the best marketing you get is a positive word of mouth experience. Someone going, go there, they're brilliant. Yeah, for sure. Okay, as a potential customer then, me as a potential customer, how do I find you? How do I see what stock you've got? Walk me through the whole process to walking out with the keys. How's it all happen?
Yeah, so the industry relies heavily on AutoTrader. That's a huge part of the market. You know, a lot of people find us through a bike that they're specifically looking for, because we don't really get a lot of customers just coming in to look at bikes. They come in to look at a specific bike that they've either seen on AutoTrader or eBay. We get a bit of traffic through the Instagram. We keep, you know, all our stock that comes into stock goes onto Instagram and AutoTrader at the same time. So I always say to people, if you've got Instagram, it's a really good idea to follow us, because you'll get the latest. You know, you'll get the coming soon post on the stories. So you'll see it before it's even listed. And then you'll see the post on Instagram. But we find a lot of our traffic comes through AutoTrader. And then what we find is the customer journey from there is they go from AutoTrader to our website just to see who we're about. You know, if we're legitimate, we could just be Joe Blogs down the street that's just started selling bikes like I was a year ago. Yeah. And they start seeing, you know, all of the website looks proper, looks good. You can see the AutoTrader reviews, and they go from there, and then they generally phone us on our landline number or send us an inquiry through AutoTrader, and then we pick them up from there. But I would say about 80% of our sales comes through AutoTrader. We rely heavily on that, and I think that's car and bike industry wide, that's sort of common now, you know. Even when I bought bikes back, it was always AutoTrader or eBay that I looked on first, and then I would go from there. I wouldn't specifically go to one dealer. I would go in and have a look, you know, if you were passing by or you were trying to kill some time. But again, because we're appointment only, we're not getting the customers. We're purely getting focused customers on a focused bit of stock that we've got, which is fine. It's the way I like it. It does wean out a lot of time wasters, window shoppers, but we are still missing out on some customers, you know, the impulse buyers, the people that come down for a look and then they walk out the door and they've just signed themselves up to a 4-year PCP deal on a S1000RR or a GS or something. We miss out on them, but at the end of the day, we knew that was going to be the case. So it's fine. You know, it works the way we're doing it. And I genuinely believe that a lot more dealers are going to go down that route. Maybe not your huge main dealers, but I think a lot of the smaller dealers, I think it would be wise for them to do that, because they could probably reduce the amount of staff they've got, but still capture the people they want to capture. The only thing that's missing is a hub. You know, that sort of meet hub that bikers always meet up somewhere and go and have a nosy around the bikes. We do lose out on that, but what we're hoping to do is, it won't be this year, but next year is maybe do like a once a month ride out, you know, start from HQ, Moto Mafia HQ, and ride out somewhere. We've got a lot of good roads around here, and we'll capture them that way, you know, pick them up once a month.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea to do. My dealership down towards Brighton, that's exactly what they do. They've started during the summer months. They do ride outs now, and they'll get a burger van or, you know, a pizza oven will come round just purely for that, to try and generate some sort of community base at the dealership. It's a great idea. Really good, especially for you, as you just said, you've got some astonishing roads up there. Great roads. Right, okay, let's tackle some questions. You up for that?
Yeah. Ready?
Right, lovely. First question is always from me. It's the same one to everybody. And that is, I describe Brew Time as a relaxed conversation podcast exploring what it really means to live your life through honest conversations with people who choose more. When you hear that, what does choosing more mean to you?
Choosing more. Choosing more to me is, you know, what I did from the start, you know, thinking about this idea, you know, that my wife helped me do, jumping in with 2 feet and then refusing to quit for the sake of not waste 200 quid.
Aye.
But that idea came from wanting more from the industry. So I thought the only way to get more is to do it myself. And it's, again, striving. We started off with, you know, the GS, the R7, the S1000 RR and the old R1. And now we've got special 1199 Panigale Tricolores. We've got S1000 RR M Sports. You know, we've got GS 1250s, you know, special Triumph Thruxtons. It's just always striving to do better and get more, but do it the right way. And I think that's, you know, what resonates, you know, on this topic, that's what resonates with me, but it resonates with me on other things as well. I'm always striving for more without being greedy and, you know, still trying to be humble. But, you know, myself and my wife and the dog, we go away, we go across to Europe. I do bike trips as well, go across to Europe with my dad. But then after I do it with my dad, I want to do it again. So then I'm like to my wife, let's jump in the van and let's take the dog and let's go do more. Let's do it, you know, every time that we've got. We try and get away into Europe and experience different cultures and things like that. So it's always wanting more, but in a good sense, not a greedy sort of, you know, wanting, you know, people can't get greedy, can't they? Want more and more and more, and then they realise that that's not happiness. But things like that, experiences, trips, culture, progression, things like that is what resonates with me. Gotcha.
Right, first one, we'll move across to the clan. So, first question from the clan. That's patreon.com/TeapotOne. The Mad Leprechaun. How you doing, Mart? What is your unicorn motorcycle? The holy grail you've never owned or ridden, but you would like to?
Do you know, I find myself on AutoTrader every night, right, looking for stock. And it's funny because I was looking at it last night. So what I'll do is when I'm dreaming, I'm in dreamer mode. I'll put all stock and then I'll go to lowest price and highest price, and I'll go like 150 grand to £250,000. Click, and it comes up like 3 bikes or something like that. And I did it last night, and it was a Aprilia RS GP, MotoGP, Alex Espargar's MotoGP bike.
On AutoTrader?
On AutoTrader. £250,000, 255 grand. That to me is the ultimate bike. You know, the most expensive bike in the UK. It's a MotoGP bike. It's been ridden by a MotoGP rider. It looks absolutely unbelievable in the MotoGP colours. You can't ride it on the road, but it would be cool to look at. You just, you know, crack open a beer and look at it, start it up, sound amazing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And probably take it to a local track day, get it down to Cadwell Park and give it a good spin. That to me is the ultimate bike, you know. Go hard or go home.
Bloody hell, yeah, just a bit. Crikey. God, I hadn't even looked at that angle. I was just thinking, you know, like a road going bike and trying to think, Christ, for me, what's my unicorn? I don't think there is one, you know. I mean, no, I don't. There's nothing that jumps out for me. You know,
Have you seen the Aston Martin bike?
No.
There's one of them in AutoTrader. I seen it last night. 200 grand. Now have a look at that. You're not going to be able to ride it on the road, but it's a cool bit of kit as well. And I know Aston Martin aren't British anymore, but it still has that sort of British edge about it, which is quite cool as well. So just maybe have a look at that, and maybe that could become your unicorn.
Try and find £250,000, eh? People have to watch a few more
But
videos.
it's a unicorn, so we're playing make believe.
Yeah.
I don't have £250,000 either.
Cheers to that one, Mark. Next one is Andy. How are we doing, Andy? Evening, gents. Hope this finds you well. A couple of questions, if I may. Ryan, best of luck in your endeavours. How do you develop the personal contacts and relationships that appear to be essential in the high-end market?
First, thanks very much for the well wishes. It really does mean a lot. You know, we get a lot of people reaching out, and it does mean a great deal. Honestly, you'll probably be the same, Bruce. When you get the nice messages, it really spurs you on. It
does.
Motivates you to move forward.
Aye.
Personal contacts, I had none, honestly. I'm telling you, I started off with a £200 logo. I had no contacts. I scrolled through forums, joined a lot of different forums for different manufacturers. You know, everyone's got their own forum, Ducati forum, Yamaha forum, BMW will have a forum. You join them, and there's a lot of wonderful people on there. And a lot of people put their bikes up for sale, and forum members generally are very particular about their bikes. So you find a lot of good examples on there. I shouldn't be giving away my secrets here, but yeah, that built up some contacts, and then a couple of independent guys round about Scotland and Northern Ireland, sort of connections through social media with our following. Especially once you start gaining a bit of traction and becoming a bit recognised, people want to know you then. You know, a couple of independent dealers were starting at the same time as us, so we were sort of propping each other up, you know, sharing posts and liking and messaging, just like Mark's just done there, a bit of encouragement. And it builds a little sort of relationship, and then you can help each other out. And that's probably the most relationships I've made is through social media.
Yeah. I think I mean, you know, like in the old days in business, everyone just saw it as... Sorry, my wife's out. I don't know if you heard the dog barking there.
No, I never heard it.
My dog's outside I've got like a cabin at the bottom of the garden, and that's my office where I sit now. And the dog is out there, and she wants me to go out and play. So she's just stood there barking. My wife's just come down.
Come on,
again.
Dad, let's go.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, in the old days, but like, it wasn't that long ago that within business and industry, and I'm sure it's still the same now, but your rivals were considered competition, weren't they? And it was like, it seemed, I don't know, like that cutthroat attitude towards your peers within an industry seemed to be the norm. Whereas I notice now, especially with the onset of social media, how everything is, well, like this personal relationship that we were just chatting about, how that's becoming more and more and more important, I think, to people. I agree with you 100% what you just said there. Rather than treating people as competition, you know, you help people as much as you possibly can, and generally that seems to be reciprocated. You know, you help somebody out by introducing them to this contact or that contact, or you have somebody, a potential customer comes to you and you think, do you know what, I can't actually provide you with what you need, but have a look at this one over here, push them towards them. That sort of, there's always going to be arseholes, absolutely. But I do find within my niche, it gets reciprocated. You know, it's like you pay it forward and eventually it'll come back and it gets paid to you eventually. Maybe I'm being very ignorant and naive, I don't know, but it seems to be my experience so far.
No, I think I'm the same as you, Bruce. It's what goes around comes around, and that can be good or bad. You know, but you know, if you do a good deed and you look after each other, it'll pay dividends in the future. And yeah, you will get some bad eggs. You help them out, and they maybe won't help you back, or they might try and, you know, shaft you. But what goes around comes around. You just move on. You put it down as an experience, and you don't help them again, and you help the people you can. And I think in this industry, the motorcycle industry, it is actually quite a small industry. And if you help, if you help each other out, like you say, it will come back and help you as well. But I think because I've came from the small independent side of it with other small independents, and a few of them had started up similar time to me. I must have started at the right time, so we were propping each other up, which definitely helped, which is good. But no, I don't see anyone as as an actual. Obviously, we do have competition, but I don't see them as a direct competition. We're in the used bike market. We're always got different bikes in stock, and even if we both have the same model, if theirs sells first, mine will then sell, so it's no problem. It's not like we've got 6 Yamaha R1s to sell. I mean, don't get me wrong, if we had 6 R1s, we'd probably sell them all in a week because they're so popular. But if we had, say, 6 Tracer 9 GTs sitting, and they had 6 Tracer 9 GTs, that's a direct competition because we've got 6 of them to get rid of. But that's a main dealer issue. That's not an independent dealer issue. We've got a variety of stock. It's different every week. And if that other independent dealer can help me get rid of one, and I can help him get rid of one, or I've got a customer looking for a specific bike that dealer's got, we can work together in a small community, which helps everyone out. Everyone gets what they want. The customer gets the bike he wants. The dealer gets that bike sold. I've done a good deed for them, and then I'll get it reciprocated. Even 2-3 years down the line, doesn't matter. We'll get it back at some point.
Nice one, yeah. Great.
How do you find it with the YouTube? The YouTubers, is that a similar thing? You help each other with content creation, and it sort of gets reciprocated.
On the whole, I've not done collabs in a long time, to be honest. I did a load to begin with, and we all all the core sort of UK moto vloggers back then when I was starting. There was me, TMF, Richie Vida, Lamb Chops. We were sort of the main ones back then. I'm talking quite a few years ago now. So we all did work with each other on that, and it was great. A good bunch of lads, and we've established really good relationships and friendships from it. There's a load now, and I try and have as many as I can on the podcast to sort of do that. But I've got to say, I'm so busy with the tours now that there's just between tours and editing, there's not really time to go off and do like collab-y types. I would love to go meet up with Kate, username Kate, and English Biker Dan. There's loads of people. Just my mates, Fish, official Mr. Fish, and folk like that. I just don't have the time to go and ride with them. So I'd love to do it. But generally, the people that I do know and the people I've had on here, you help people out by giving them a bit of a platform, and people will return the favour in any way they can. There's just so many now, it's not just YouTube anymore, is it? It's TikTok, it's Instagram, I don't even know what else. What have they got now? Is there a big bike thing on Snapchat? I haven't got a clue. I haven't even got Snapchat.
I don't know.
No idea.
I'm really not sure. But like you say, you are the OGs of the biker YouTube. So the younger ones are coming through. I bet you've had inundated messages from guys and girls saying, I watched your video, Bruce. I'm looking to do something similar. Have you got any advice? We get that, and I'm not even that big. People looking to set up bike dealerships and looking for a bit of advice. And I'll be sitting on the couch, and I'll take the time out of my night to give them advice because, I never actually had I was quite scared to reach out to people because I thought they would just laugh me out the door like the FCA did when I looked for finance. But they've worked up the courage to message you and ask you for a bit of advice. And if you can just give a couple of minutes, and they might just read it and go, thanks very much. And it's an idea that's went out the window. But one of the people might use your advice and then become something. And then, again, another person in the industry that can help you out in the future.
Absolutely.
Just pays back. But I'd imagine you'll be the same in YouTube where people will reach out and say, look, looking to become a motorcycle vlogger. Have you got any pointers?
Yeah, definitely. And I get a lot of it around travel, whether that's, world travel or just doing tours, or a lot of people that want to set up their own tour business, people just, asking for advice on how to do stuff. And yeah, you're right. You help however you can, don't you? It's
absolutely. It's a funny story. I actually toured last year. I went with my dad to Bosnia, Croatia.
Oh yeah.
Slovenia on a 1290 Super Duke GT, both of us.
Oh, nice.
And I went to Slovenia after watching one of your videos. You went on a tour to Slovenia and you went to the base and just in the tip of, like, before Bosnia. And we went there because I'd watched your video. So a lot of your videos have inspired some of the trips that I've done myself, you know, just...
awesome,
so again, it's important that this content's really important to inspire people to do things. And it pays dividends because it helped me have a great experience, you know.
I was going to say, how'd you find it? Do you enjoy it down there?
Loved it. Absolutely phenomenal. Slovenia is beautiful. Crazy. We found this little farm place in Slovenia on Airbnb. We went down for a coffee in the morning and there was this woman sitting with a beer with a man who's drinking a coffee like a normal guy. The woman's drinking a beer. She looked hard as nails. I went in to pay the bill when there's the Soviet Union hats all above the bar. I didn't realise that there were, you know, proper Soviet people back in the day. There's a lot of history there with Slovenia, but it's a beautiful country. And the best beer I've ever had is Union beer. You get it at Lake Bled. It's absolutely phenomenal beer. You know, really good. But yeah, I loved it. Great place.
Slovenia is one of the best kept secrets. You know, it is a stunningly beautiful country. The roads are fantastic and really varied, from alpine roads to, you know, sweepers and forest and open stuff. There's everything there. It's cheap as chips and people speak English and it's really friendly, isn't it?
What more do you want?
You can base yourself there in Slovenia, and from Slovenia you can hit Italy, Austria, you could probably even do a bit of Switzerland, you can do Croatia. You know, there's so many places that you can get to just from Slovenia. It's a great place to go on a bike. And you can ride there. You know, if you bomb it, you can get there in a day, or you can have a nice, relaxed back cross-country route off the motorways. You can do that comfortably in 3 days, if not 2. So go to Slovenia.
I'll tell you one place I'll never go back to. One place I'll never go back to is Baden-Baden in Germany. I had a terrible experience there. Terrible experience.
Go on.
So we rode down to Baden-Baden for the night before heading down in over the Alps. Went out for a meal, checked into the hotel, went out for a meal, came back, got a couple of whiskies in the hotel reception, and the next thing we know, German police come into the reception. Never thought anything of it, and then they come up to what? You know, we're sitting down on the couch, myself and my dad. It was just me and my dad there. They come up to us and say, "Can we have a word with you?" I'm like, "Oh no, what's going on here, German police? You know, you're in a foreign country. Police will want to speak to you. What's going on?" Yeah, we believe you stole a mobile phone, and we're like, "Sorry." We believe you stole a mobile phone. We've got CCTV footage of you. You've stolen a mobile phone. And I'm like, right, okay. Pointing directly to me. We need to search your room, search your bike gear, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I haven't stolen a mobile phone. What are you talking about? Well, apparently the receptionist who checked us in had accused us of stealing his mobile phone because he'd lost his mobile phone basically, and he'd looked in the CCTV, and I'd leant into the reception and grabbed and dragged something, which was the key card for the hotel room that he'd left on the table for me. But they'd looked at it, and to be fair, on the CCTV it did look like a mobile phone, so they obviously wanted to search our room. And I was like, have you tried to phone it? Have you done any of that? And, they were just like, no, we want to search your room. So yeah, it took us up to a room, searched through all our bags, through the whole, gizmo, took us down to the motorbikes, searched our bikes, stripped them right down, took the seats off, everything. Obviously couldn't find anything because we hadn't stolen a mobile phone. And that was it. We were like, all right, okay, no, still suspicious of us, but they had nothing there, so they couldn't do anything. Which is scary, you're in Germany, you're in a country that you don't know. Of
course.
What I was worried about was, because they showed me the CCTV footage and it did look like a mobile phone, I was like, shit, what if I've accidentally picked up a mobile phone? And then they find it on me,
Explain
which wasn't
that
the case,
one.
but what would have happened then? Would I have got put in prison in Germany for stealing a mobile phone? Anyway, we went straight to our rooms, didn't want to even associate down the reception. Got up in the morning, and we were checking out, and it was new staff, and we just said, oh, did the person find a mobile phone? And they said, oh yeah, he'd misplaced it. And I was like, right, was there no, did he not think to phone up to the room and let us know that he'd found it, or an apology or anything? So yeah, that was us. That was my bad experience. It's a beautiful place, but that just totally ruined my experience. We were really annoyed about it after, because he found his mobile phone and hadn't said anything. So yeah, it's, went through the Black Forest after and forgot all of it. I obviously haven't forgotten about it, stuck there, but, you know, Black Forest is definitely worth it, but I wouldn't stop back into Baden-Baden again. I think I would go somewhere else.
Again, there you go. Like, personal experience is the best or worst recommendation you can get, isn't it? Like, you've had a bad experience there. You're telling people about it and it will put people off. Whereas if you went and you had a fantastic experience, you'd be telling people how good it was, and that would make people go there, wouldn't it? Yeah. Right. Next question from Andy. Final question. Which market or country do you want to target next?
There's two answers to that. Market, I would love to get into the supercar industry. Maybe offer like one supercar along with the bikes, and try it and see how it goes. It's obviously not going to happen overnight. It's something that is in our heads. We're planning, we're looking at it. You've got to risk, like, now that, you know, it's not a £200 logo anymore. You've got a risk calculator. You're talking about a supercar, you know, that could be a McLaren or a Ferrari or a Porsche. You're talking excess of 100 grand. You got to do your due diligence on that. You know, I like cars, but I'm not experienced in buying supercars. I've never had one before. So that is the market I would like to look at next. Country, I would absolutely love to move tomorrow to Italy. I would move tomorrow to Italy, but unfortunately I can't speak Italian. I can't speak Italian. And yeah, all right, I managed to cuff my way through into the UK market. I just don't know if I'd be able to cuff it speaking Italian. I'd have to learn Italian first, and I don't know if they've got an FCA in Italy, but I don't know how that phone call would go when I'm looking to set up finance in Italy. It just wouldn't go the same way. So unfortunately, I don't think there'll be another country at the moment, but definitely the supercar market might be something we look at in the future.
Italy will never happen, Ryan, with an attitude like that. We'd change the mindset.
I'll need to make another £200 logo, and that'll encourage me to go for it.
This is it. Yeah. All in or bust. One for Bruce. If you were gifted your own unicorn motorcycle, what would it be and how often would you clean it? Have a good chat, Andy. Andy, I genuinely don't think I have like a unicorn motorcycle in a sense of an unattainable one that I'll never ever get. There's no massively expensive bike out there that I'm aware of at the moment that I think, oh yeah, I want that. I think if money was no object, in that I could just piss that up the wall, I would get something like the 1390 Super Ducati. I would probably get something like that, because the 1290 Gen 2 was just unbelievable. But it shat its oils and fluids all over my garage floor when I had the press bike from KTM. So that put me off that. But if I could just spend money, that kind of money, on a toy and just have it, I would probably go the Super Ducati, I think, just because love that bike. Great fun.
It's a really good bike.
It's just fun. It's for me what biking is, you know. It's just an utter hooligan. You can ride it with manners, no problem, or you can put yourself to hell or jail very, very easily, and you would do it with a massive smile on your face. So, happy days.
And makes you giggle. It's a bike that makes you giggle. It really does.
Like a schoolgirl. Just loved it.
Oh yeah, like a big girl. Yeah.
That's something I don't get with a GS. You know, I have woohoo moments, but I don't have that uncontrollable, hilarious
yourself with giggles.
I don't just have those moments that you get with the likes of that, with the KTM or the Aprilia. You know, I had a Tuono, that was phenomenal. But again, not reliable. Mine wasn't anyway.
Sorry, on that, Bruce. If you had the 1390 and you were cleaning it, what products would you use on cleaning it?
Right.
I always like to know what products people use, because I'm still experimenting with the best possible products to use for cleaning bikes.
Now, I'm slightly tainted in this one, because my mate Pete has a company called Super Shield Automotive, who do the ceramic coating, but he also does cleaning, and he's got all the cleaning products. So I was very much governed by Pete. I saw he's proper OCD, so I saw the amazing jobs he does. It takes some effort. It does take some graft. He spends like 15, 16 hours on your bike cleaning it. literally takes it apart, proper details it. So I'd always used his products, and then another mate of mine had been on at me for years to try this. Oh God, what is it called? It's a weird name. Give me 2 ticks, I'll dig it out, because my mates. So I don't know if you've heard of them, the Average Bikers in a Cave. Their podcast.
Okay.
They actually, I think they're sponsored by them. Let me find them. Talk amongst yourselves, people. I'll just find these details.
I'm always intrigued to see what products people are using, because obviously I've got the products that I use just now, but I always like to try other things and just try and find a niche. You never, personally, I don't think you're ever going to find one manufacturer that's going to do everything. So it's nice to use a bit of different things, and then I'll find exactly what's the best thing to have. The best sort of different products for different things. So I'd be intrigued to see if you use something different I haven't tried, and I'll get it and try it.
Well, I've been using this stuff now. It's called Diomix, and that is spelled Diomyx.
I'm just going to write that down.
And it's diomyx.co.uk. And if you use the code average10 at checkout, you'll get 10% off as well. That's the Average Bikers code. I've been using it.
It's 10% off. That's great.
There you go. It's the Scotsmen, they're Scottish as well, the Average Bikers lads. There'll be good ones for you to get on as well. So obviously they're based up near you anyway.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
They're a good bunch of boys.
And try it.
This Diomix, I started using it on my visor on the bike, and it's just phenomenal. So the last time I washed my bike, which is quite a while ago, because we've got a hose pipe down here now, I used it on the bike, and normally I do a pre-wash on the bike, and I snow foam that off, and then I put wheel cleaner, and then like a tar cleaner, and iron, a fallout cleaner over the bike as well, let all that, and then snow foam that off. Then I do a 2-bucket wash with proper wax shampoo, snow foam that off, and then I touch up anything that's left after that. So there's probably a good 2-3 hours there really in a good wash. I used that Diomix on everything, and I think the bike came up lovely. It wasn't as good as a full detail, but it was fucking decent for a quick wash. Took me 45 minutes, I suppose. But my bike has been ceramic coated, so that does help with that.
It's worth its weight in gold, ceramic coating. It's worth its weight in gold.
Aye. I find, I don't know about you, but I find it's not so much as in keeping things clean, because you still need to clean your bike, obviously. It's just easier to clean it. But it's the corrosion aspect. You don't get that burling on the bolt heads and around your calipers and all that sort of stuff. You don't get that once it's been properly coated. So yeah, I'll definitely do it on all my new bikes. Excuse me.
Well, it's not just that. If you wash your bike when it's been ceramic coated and you wheel it out in the drive, the first person that walks by it going, God, have you just polished that? Because you still have to wash it. It doesn't protect you from, but it's when you do wash it, the results are so much better after you've washed it if it's ceramic coated.
Yeah. It's a lot easier to get all those contaminants off, isn't it? The iron, all that sort of stuff, the road contaminants, tar, everything like that comes off a lot easier. And then the colours just pop, especially like for you with your Ducatis. And I imagine that red on the Ducati just pops when it's out in the sun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's so important. That's one thing I would say is, if you've got a bike and, you're planning to sell it in the future, it's definitely worth looking after it. A ceramic coat is that if you can't afford a ceramic coat, just make sure you wash it after you've ridden it. Don't leave the bugs on there, don't leave the residue on there, don't let it rust, because do you know what? That could be the difference in 400, 500, 600 quid in valuation when you come to trade it. It's so important.
Easy. Yeah, right. Okay, last 2 questions are over on Instagram. First one we've got there is Step Meek at Step Meek. Can you ask Ryan if he has to settle on only one bike now for the rest of his riding days? What would he be? What would he take?
Oh, so I cheated on this one. I seen that question, and I thought about that since it got posted. And everyone's going to think he's going to say Ducati, isn't he? But I'm actually not. If I can only ride one bike, I'm thinking of riding it on the road, riding it on track, taking it to places like Slovenia, you know, enjoying the Scottish roads up here. I'm thinking S1000 XR, but the M model one, you know, the 200 horsepower one. That's for me
XR,
because 200 horsepower, it's going to be amazing on the track. You know, it's got powerful braking, it's got a lot of power under the carcass. It looks amazing. It would have to be a black one as well. It looks absolutely amazing, but it's comfortable. It's got all the toys on it. I can take it all over Europe and still be comfortable on it. And yeah, it's basically a super bike. That for me is, if I can only have one bike, it's actually, I'd be devastated to not have a Ducati, but that would have to be the one that I would have.
Have you ridden the M1000R yet? So the naked R. Oh
no.
Oh my God. I still dream about that bike. For me, it's up there with the 1290 or the Super Duke, right? It's up there with that. I took the M1000R Carbon, you know, the black one with all the carbon on it.
Yeah.
I had that for a day or two, and I literally came back thinking to myself, I think I need this bike in my life. You know, like I think I need this. And I was seriously contemplating chopping the GS in for one of them. And then I said to my mate at the dealership, I was like, can you get a top box for that? Do they do top boxes for it? And he just looked at me and he went, if you're going to put top box and luggage on that bike, I am not selling you it. You know, and I was like, but I need a top box. I need a top box for all my kit. You know, it's got to be done.
Yeah. How good would the content be of you doing a tour on one of them, though? I mean, I think BMW should give you one as a long-term review and take one on a tour.
Everyone thinks BMW, like, give me bikes and all that. Like, I get nothing from BMW.
Yeah.
I just have a very good relationship with my local, my dealership down the coast there, Group 1. I'll give them a plug again, Group 1 in Brighton. I've got a really good relationship with them. So my bike's in and out for services all the time because I do a lot of miles. And they'll give me a courtesy bike. They'll be, what do you want to take out? Or, you know, we've got this in, do you want to take that out? So that's how I get all the BMW bikes. It's not from BMW UK.
Yeah. Come on, BMW, up your game. I
don't think they actually like me because I didn't do a very favourable review of the R18 when that first came out. And then I took that electric thing that they produced a few years ago. And it was, you know, it was a bag of shit. It was a 5-year-old technology bike that they were putting out as state of the art with BMW prices. And it's like, this is what electric bikes were like 5 years ago. This is a lazy attempt. And I didn't mince my words about it. So, yeah. Well, there we go.
Well,
as we said,
you kept your integrity, mate. That's all that matters. You kept your integrity. You told people exactly what it was.
It's true, but as we said, the biking world is very small, particularly here in the UK. You piss some people off that, well, as I've found, that doesn't take long to get around that little cliquey circle. Yeah, so, but I will. I'm not relying on anyone for anything other than people that follow the channel, so that's fine.
But at the end of the day, the GS is still an amazing bike. You know, it's such a nimble. By the way, I got absolutely annihilated. I was on a Super Duke 1290 GT on the Stelvio Pass, and I like to think I'm a fairly fast rider, okay? I'm not Marquez. I'm not Bob Collins, all right? But I'm fairly fast.
Do you know Bob?
I know, but I met him out in Jerez. Yeah, he's a lovely guy. Nutter. But you know, I'm not Bob Collins, but I like to think of myself as fairly fast. And I met a guy, he must have been an Italian bloke, on the Stelvio Pass. He was on an old 1200 GS, and he absolutely annihilated me. He left me, he embarrassed me. And it just, you know, I'd never ridden a GS at that time. And then after that, I'd rode the GS, and I was like, can actually see how he was so fast, because the boxer engine, it's so low down. So it actually handles really well. You can flick it about. It's such a flickable bike, and you look at it and go, how can that be flickable? But it is. It just fills you with confidence. It's a great bike.
It's got so much low down grunt as well, isn't it? That it's just effortlessly quick through those corners.
Phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I can't praise them highly enough.
We've just lost half the podcast. You know that, don't you? Bloody GSs, GS wankers. That's them tuned off. That wasn't me, people. I didn't do that. Right. We just answered that question, didn't we? Step Meek. One bike for the rest of your riding days. What would he take? Okay. Last question then from the socials. Real Schwerty. Evening, gents. How you doing? Question for both. When was the last time you did something for the first time, and what was it?
Oh, that's deep.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Last time I did something for the first time.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I mean, I ride roads I've not ridden before all the time, which sounds weird from someone with a touring business, but the routes generally, other than maybe the Picos, the routes are pretty much governed by my business partner, Simon, because Simon Weir is like the world leader. He's the Dalai Lama in terms of best biking roads in the world. So he takes care of that. So I'm always riding roads I've never ridden before. And like with the punters, I'm just like, holy shit, this is phenomenal. But outside of that, that's difficult. Last time I did something new.
I've got one.
Go on,
I've just thought about it. So, myself and my wife in May, we went to
Whoa, this is a
Malaga.
family show, right? All right, sorry.
We went to Malaga for a holiday, just for a quick long weekend. And I had a GS 1300 hired. We were going to ride. I don't know if you've been there before. Ronda, it's a beautiful place.
Gorgeous, with the bridge.
And the road from Marbella up to Ronda's phenomenal. You know, it's a really windy. It's like a racetrack. It's really good.
Yeah, it is.
So we had the 1300 hired for that. And we flew in and we arrived and we looked at the weather forecast and pissing rain for the whole trip. So I was like, oh no. So we rendezvoused in a coffee shop and, my wife Megan was like, what are we going to do? And I was like, we're going to have to cancel because we're not going to enjoy it. We've not got the gear to ride it. It's not going to be fun. We're just going to have to, cancel it. We'll just get a hire car and we'll just drive up to Ronda and get some lunch or what. She was like, okay, have a look at some hire cars. So I had a wee look through some hire cars and then it escalated, like this business escalated. We were looking at, Ford Fiestas and Ford Focuses, and then it moved on to a Peugeot 306, and then it went from a Peugeot 306 to an Audi A4, and then the next thing I know, I've booked a Porsche 911. I don't really know much about Porsches. It was some sort of soft-top Porsche 911. I think it was a 911.
But it's a Porsche. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Do you know what? It wasn't that much more expensive than the GS to hire.
Really?
I think it was about an extra €150 to hire the Porsche. So I just thought, the whole trip, we're going to be raining, so let's have something. We're not going to have any sun, so let's do this. Yeah. And we hired the Porsche and we drove it all day. We went up through the mountains, through to Ronda and back, and we went down through the Costa del Sol. Absolutely phenomenal. It's the first time I've ever driven a Porsche, especially in Spain, and yeah, it was a great experience. I'd done that Ronda road loads of times on different bikes. I'd done it on a Multistrada, I'd done it on a Harley before, but that was the first time I did it on a Porsche, and by God, I can see why people like Porsches. I've never been a Porsche man, but it was a great experience, really was.
Did it light a fire for you then, in terms of, I need one of them in my life?
No. No, because I own a, I've got a Panigale at home, and that's just never going to. Don't get me wrong, it was a great. You've got your wife next to you. You can talk, you can have a laugh, you can share the experience together. It is really good, but in the UK, is it really worth it? I'd probably rather just hire one in Malaga, and enjoy it there, and for a day, and then not have to insure it and service it and put tyres on it. But yeah, I'll choose a bike all day long over a Porsche. But it was a really good experience. I'd highly recommend it if you could do it. It's really good.
I've never driven a Porsche. Funnily enough, I've got two neighbours. My next door neighbour across the drive, and then the ones on the other side of them. They've both got Porsches, but they're like second-hand Porsches. One guy's my next door neighbour's a retired fireman, and it was his present to himself when he retired. He bought this Porsche. And then the other chap, he's a bit of a mechanic, so he normally works on TVRs. He buys and sells TVRs, and he buys them in shit state and then does them up and then flogs them, just spins them all the time. But he'd worked up through like Range Rovers and all this sort of stuff. Next thing, there's a Porsche on his drive. And both of them were like, oh, second hand. They were like, Christ, this was like $5,000, $6,000 for the Porsche. I was like, bloody hell, seriously? I thought they were like 90 grand, 100 grand. Yeah, buying brand new. Yeah, but this thing had, I can't remember the mileage, but they both look mint. Both of these Porsches look absolutely lovely, but they were like, I think, single digits to buy them second hand. Problem comes when they start going wrong.
Yeah, that's where the money is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like Vivos, isn't it? You need parts. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it's like Ducati as well, isn't it? They've got a mug, you know, when you tell them you've got a problem, like, oh, that's going to cost.
Yeah, happy days. That's my timeshare bought. Yeah, brilliant. I just thought of something I did for the first time. Start of this year, I took my wife up to North Sweden because she'd always wanted to see the Northern Lights, and we hadn't done a holiday since before COVID. So, I took her up to Northern Sweden there and did like one of these 5-day Arctic adventure package holiday type things. So we stayed in like a glass igloo and we did snowmobile ride, which was amazing, great fun. We did a husky sleigh ride, which again was a hell of an experience. We went snowshoe trekking up a mountain. We just did loads of stuff, and we stayed in the ice hotel for a night as well. So that's probably the last time I did a load of new stuff that I'd never done before, and I thoroughly recommend it. Other than the ice hotel, just spend the night in your freezer if you want to know what the ice hotel's like. That's basically it. But the rest of
what
it,
was the sleigh dogs like? That sounds really intriguing. That sounds interesting.
It really cold because it was like minus 28, I think, there, and funnily enough, it's bloody freezing when you're moving, over the air with the wind chill as well. And then you've got all the dogs in front of you, and they are farting, shitting, and pissing constantly. So
really, you
just have all these interesting aromas coming back at you. But it genuinely is a great experience. We saw moose, all sorts of stuff. It was awesome. And then we saw the Northern Lights at night. That was just stunning. Stunning. Yeah. I mean, I've seen them before from the northeast of Scotland, but these were just a different level. Awesome. Loved it.
No, that's good. Sounds amazing. That's maybe something I'll look into. But it's, when you're spending all this time away in bikes, it's important to spend time with your wife, and that sounds like a really good thing to do with your wife, Yeah. Great. Sounds amazing.
Yeah, we hadn't actually done anything together in a long time. My wife turned 50 last year, and we were just chatting one night, and we're like, my God, we haven't actually been, because we used to go away before COVID. Every year we'd go away, and generally to America. So because we've got loads of friends over there. So you just fly into like New York somewhere or Boston, and we would just hire a big truck, one of the big American trucks. And then we had no plan. You just hit the road, and you just do a road trip for like 10 days, 2 weeks, and we just wing it. We never booked anything. Just, this looks a nice place. We'll stay here. What's here? Blah, blah, blah. And it was just awesome. My missus is very easygoing like that. It's very much like me. She just, we'll play it by ear. We'll see what happens, see where the wind takes us. But after COVID, we hadn't done that. And, we suddenly realized, God, it's been 5 years since we actually went away and did anything. So, yeah, it was quite nice just to go away and do that.
Great experience.
You're right. You do need to make time, don't you? When you're starting a business,
of course,
it is very all-encompassing. You're lucky that your missus is involved with that as well. At least you've got that as well together, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Dude, that's all the questions. Is there anything that we've not covered that you want to cover?
I don't think so, no. I think we just need to, it's like we spoke about at the start, or close to the start, was if we want this industry to strive, if we want that hub for more cyclists to meet, if we want it to grow, we want to drown out the noise of the banning and the restrictions, we need to keep spreading positivity, we need to encourage each other, we need to help each other out. And I think we are looking at a very exciting future in motorcycles. I genuinely do. I know there's a lot of doom and gloom, with Superbike Factory and some of the previous, things that have happened. The horrible news about 44 Teeth, I don't know what's going on there. There's a lot of things going on, but there's still a lot of positivity, and there's a lot of growth, and there's a lot of things that we're still lucky to have, like World Superbike, MotoGP, BSB, the Isle of Man. I mean, my God, that's still going. It's unbelievable. Yeah. We've got some exciting bikes still coming out, I think we're still in a very exciting time. And I think as long as we keep staying positive and keep propping each other up like we independent dealers have been doing here. If we keep propping each other up, whether that's independent dealers, YouTubers, just weekend bikers, stop spreading hate on social media and telling people what bike they should and shouldn't have. Just encourage each other. We're going to grow, and we'll be that loud that no one will be able to stop us, and we'll be free spirits for forever.
Amen to that, brother. Amen to that. I think that's key. Is spreading that positive message about the fun bikes bring you. We're all too familiar with the dangers associated with bikes. Everybody knows that. But you could get knocked over when you walk out your house, for God's sake. You could wake up tomorrow and not feel great and go to the doctor, and life changes. Enjoy yourself. We've only got one chance in life, haven't we? Enjoy yourself. And for a lot of us out there, there's no better way of enjoying yourself than jumping on two wheels. So let's promote that, folks. Let people know how good it is. If you're a content creator, get out there and show people how good it is. As bikers, let's help the industry. Get down to your local dealership, get down to your local shop, go to your local calf. We all moan about when these places shut down, but honestly, how often do we use them? I think we have an obligation as well as members of this community and customers. We need to start using these places a lot more than maybe we do. Appreciate there's a lot of people out there that are more than doing their part, but there's a lot of us, me included, that probably don't do as much as they should do or could do. So I think we just get out there. It's good times ahead. It's looking good. We've got a good thing. It's the one thing it's not been banned yet, so let's not let them ban it. Let's keep the industry alive. Let's grow it.
Thank God KTM didn't go down the tubes. That would have been devastating to see KTM go. I'm so glad they managed to turn that around, because that was worrying to see a big manufacturer like that in troublesome times. So I know it's great. If they've managed to turn it around with how deep they looked like they were in, it's great to see that they've managed to save it. And with that KTM 990 that's came out, that's an exciting looking bike.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It really. Yeah. Have you chucked your leg over it yet? Have you had a shot?
No, I've been watching Chris and 44 Teeth doing the racing on it. It looks. I'd love to get a hold of one. I really would. I'd love to fling my leg over one and take it round track, but there's time for that. But it does look like an exciting bike, and my God, they've knocked it out of the park with it. It looks brilliant.
Have you got any connections with KTM?
No.
Right. I'm not going to mention names, but if you're watching this, Moto Mafia. It's a very small world, mate. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'd be more than happy to take one round Cardwell Park and tell you how I feel about it.
I could introduce you. Yeah. They're a good bunch up at KTM. Cool. Good. Right. Folks, if you want to find out more about Ryan and Moto Mafia, then I'll leave all the links down below. If you're listening to the podcast, have a look at the show notes. If you're watching on the tubes, make sure you check out the description. There'll be links all given there to the website, to social media. Have a look. See what you think. You operate all throughout the UK. You're not just here, Southwest Scotland.
No, all throughout nationwide, in Ireland as well. We cover it all. We've got nationwide delivery. So if there's anything that you're interested in, you pick up the phone, you'll get me. You'll speak to me, and we'll sort you out. And we can take in Part X's, offer finance, warranties, nationwide delivery. We do it all. We've got that personal touch, so you'll get looked after and you'll get made to feel. When you're spending that sort of money on a bike, you'll get made to feel like that money's appreciated, and the end product that you get, you're going to be happy with. I know you will be, because it's hand selected as if it was going to be something that I would own myself.
Beautiful, folks. You can't ask more than that. At the very least, it's worth a look for sure, and see what's out there. See if there's anything that takes your fancy. Been an absolute pleasure, Ryan. Thank you very much for giving me a couple of hours of your time. Hope you've enjoyed it.
No, thanks very much for having me. It's been great. It's been enjoyable. It's the first podcast, and it's, the pedestal's high now. The bar's set high. We started on TeapotOne, so I don't know where I'm going to go from here.
Oh, mate, no, definitely. I'll have a word with the average bikers, lads. I'll give you a contact. I'll have a word with them as well, and they're a good bunch. They're a lot of fun, and they're up your neck. I'll need to get a
permission slip in with my wife Megan and come on one of these chicken strip tours for sure.
Oh, mate, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. Bring a Ducati and a toolkit, though, I always give everyone abuse, and I'm waiting for the day that my tractor dies on one of these tours. And it's, oh no, should have kept my mouth shut. Right, folks, hope you enjoyed this one. If you have enjoyed it, like I always say, please tell the world about it. Tell your mates. Tell them to listen to Brew Time. Sharing is the best thing that you can possibly do at the moment. The algorithms seem to love that. So, if you like any content that's out there, whether it's from me, whether it's from Ryan, whether it's from somebody else, just share it amongst your mates, and that really does help all of us out. Other than that, folks, hope you enjoyed it. Keep doing your thing. Look after those that you love. Get on out there whenever you can, but most importantly, live your life.